Part 44. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 431. The original battle between Yuanling and Tiantian has been known to everyone in the world. Countless people were in awe of the opponent's powerful, domineering, and terrifying fighting power, and even he was deeply shocked as a child. If he can get the support of the other party, he may have the terrifying power to fight against the gods. That way, he wouldn't have to fear the existence of those gods, and it would be possible to reverse the situation. As the founder of the Great Road, the founding Yuanling is a mortal enemy of the gods, and we are the same people who want to overthrow the regime of gods like him. If he is willing to help us, he may be able to win the hearts and minds of countless people, and the world may become his greatest help. Dxian's idea is correct. For Xiaoxian, the will of the people in the world is his greatest weapon. But Daji shook her head lightly. Her ancestors could not let the founding Yuanling help. What's more, they are mortals and spirits. Although the founding Yuanling is the mortal enemy of heaven, it is almost impossible to get him to help us. Not to mention that the other party is an invincible existence, but we want to find his existence. It is already difficult for us to reach heaven, so how can we let him help us? Daji knew what Dxian was thinking, and he wanted to use the power of Dao to help him overcome the difficulties. Why doesn't she want to? But in the prehistoric world, although the power of the Avenue is a mortal enemy of the gods, since the two sides have not yet started a war, it proves that the time has not come yet. If you help them, the war between Dao and the gods will start early. The deployment of Dao does not have the ability to fight with it, which will lead to the fall of Dao. They are truly unforgivable. Therefore, she, who had never refuted Dxian's words, objected for the first time. Dixin smiled. He didn't know the difficulty of finding the road, but this was his only glimmer of hope. I just want to use his power to protect my people and my lover. He looked at the sky angrily. It doesn't matter if I die, but I can't let my people. If I am punished by God, I will not be able to rest in peace even if I die. Then he turned to look at Daji, and you, I can be a foolish and incompetent king. But we can't let you be blamed for being a demon concubine who brings disaster to the country and the people. I can't even protect you, so how can I bear to let you suffer this kind of injustice? Daji looked at him with tears in her eyes. Our fate has been determined. On the chessboard of the roulette of destiny, you, me, and even everyone in the world are just pawns that move the roulette. Even if we die, we cannot escape from the chessboard, because we cannot even control our own life and death. Dxian smiled weakly. Since I can't rely on external help, then I will fight those gods by myself. As the king of a country, even if the gods are so powerful that they are inviolable, I will use my own strength to prove it. No matter how powerful you are, you will be overthrown one day. Man can conquer heaven. His body exuded a strong and irresistible terrifying coercion. His eyes released an unstoppable, burning fighting spirit. This fighting spirit will never end. He turned to look at Daji. Let me watch you calculate the wheel of fortune again. The moment the divine oracles were burned by him, those gods might be coming. Before that, he wanted to see what kind of world the country under the rule of King Wu of Zhou was like. Can it bring peace and prosperity to the common people? Daji looked at him dreamily, her eyes full of reluctance, and her hands formed a seal. Everything around him changed instantly, and countless stars rose from beneath his feet, turning into stars of destiny and hanging high above his head. The wheel of fortune under your feet slowly appeared in front of you, with the sound of the wheel's gears turning. The scene in front of him gradually changed, and the star that had been suppressed or even disappeared. At this moment, it suddenly turned into a blank, which was originally a crushing force. For some reason, they were evenly matched, and a hint of joy flashed in Daji's eyes. Since time may still be able to save it. However, as she continued to calculate, the picture in front of her suddenly became blank. This is it, she looked at the scene in surprise. Can influence all of this to happen? It only proves that there is a bigger hand pushing behind the scenes. The result of putting down the calculation is actually unknown. Mom, the baby is back, you have to wait for the baby. Dxin fell into deep thought, since the final result turned out to be blank. They have been waiting for this day for countless days and nights. But before he could be happy, he fell into another worry. And the only one with this power in the entire world is the founding Yuanling. Then we won't be punished by the gods. Dxin on the side hurriedly stepped forward, thinking that she had been bitten. Daji shook her head, Shangtang, maybe it will not perish. Since we have become pawns on another chessboard, why should we still fear the gods? Seeing the scene in front of them, the people who had just been released were suddenly filled with anger. Long live the king! They looked angrily towards the sky, their eyes burning with monstrous rage. Is this true? Liberated. Finally liberated. Not only her, but also the outcome of the Western Zhou dynasty has become unknown. Daji couldn't help but guess what he had done to make the entire wheel of fortune turn blank. Everyone was freed from the monster forest and fell into a state of ecstasy. The king has found a solution, now let us go back and live a good life. You, what did you say? Shangtang will not die. Dxin nodded, then waved his hand and promulgated the latest decree. But the outside world has long been affected by natural disasters and man-made disasters. People have died and become crippled, and those who are left with only one breath are just hanging on. Your Majesty, Shangtang will not die. It does not mean that you and I will not die. Maybe Shangtang was conquered by a more powerful person. If this is really the case, why should he be so worried? From now on, all the people in Kaoch City no longer need to serve in the army to hunt monsters and obtain inner elixirs. Madam, I've kept you waiting for so long, I'll be back with you soon. As this decree was issued, bursts of cheers came from the monster forest on the border. Daji was slightly surprised, but then she quickly realized what she was doing. Before the punishment comes, why don't we let our people be relieved, they have suffered enough. As soon as these words came out, Dxin was excited and incoherent. Does that also prove that he may have the ability to compete with the gods? The king has really lifted this decree. Daji, since the direction of things has become unknown, why don't we make good use of this opportunity? No matter who is behind this, we are just jumping from one chessboard to another. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 432. In order to satisfy the requirements of the gods and prevent punishment from heaven, they hunted and killed monsters day and night. Regardless of the danger to his own life, he abandoned his wife and children and fought to the death in the monster forest. I just wanted to exchange for the safety of my family and children, but the end result was floods in the south and drought in the north, and constant plagues. There are constant wars on the border, and the demon clan is watching with eager eyes. Their relatives are dying and maimed. The culprit of all this is the god they fear. At this moment, a barefoot old monk wearing cassocks and carrying a Buddha statue behind him slowly walked toward the crowd. Looking at their burning anger, he sighed pitifully and shook his head. We, the Buddha, are merciful. Emperor Xian of Shang dynasty angered the gods and punished them, causing the people to live in dire straits. The natural disaster could have been avoided, but due to the selfishness of King Shang, the people of Li suffered misery. His hoarse voice echoed in everyone's ears, making the anger in their hearts burn even more terrifying. I am guided by the gods to save all sentient beings and free you from purgatory. Although today's disaster is caused by Emperor Xian, as long as he puts down the butcher's knife and becomes a Buddha immediately, everything is possible. This person was the messenger who delivered the divine decree in the palace. After leaving the Western Zhou dynasty, he came directly to the people of Kaoch city. Looking at these raging mortals, I sneered in my heart. In addition to harvesting the inner elixir for them, these mortals could not help but sneer. They are just existences that take up space. If God didn't find them useful, he would really want to torture these humans to death. Seeing the painful struggle of human beings before death, the Buddha in his heart also radiated golden light. Under his instigation, these people all headed towards the palace. At that time, the peach blossom meeting in heaven was also officially held. As one of the lords of heaven, Yaokai appeared at the peach fair early. At this time, all the great immortals were already in place, except Yuanqi Tianzun and Tongtian cult master who had not yet arrived at the scene. The 12 golden immortals and direct disciples under him are already in their respective positions, just waiting for the start of the Peach Club. Yaokai looked at the Madonna of the fire spirit below and thought about how to keep her by his side. What kind of excuse should be used to drive away Guangqinzi, otherwise they will really lead to the final outcome. Then she failed to live up to Xiaoxian's attention to her and the elixir she gave herself last time. After she came back, she took it. In a short period of time, she broke through to become a quasi-sage and became a saint. Although it attracted the attention of countless forces, no one discovered her identity. Even the location where she broke through the saint was not exposed, so she felt relieved. After this time, Yaokai completely surrendered to Xiaoxian's ability. Therefore, she must complete this Pantao meeting. Haoshan was thinking about how to use excuses to fend off everyone's inquiries. After all, the Queen Mother of Heaven disappeared for no reason, but he did not report it to Hung Jundaezu and others. Naturally, it would arouse everyone's suspicion, but when he came to the Peach Club. But he found that Yaokai was sitting there upright, looking at a certain place thoughtfully on his face. This shocked him greatly, and the quasi-sage sent that day went to hunt her down in order to avoid his pursuit. All Yaokai can do is not use any spiritual power, so she can't do anything else except escape. But none of the quasi-sages who were sent came back. According to his calculation, the 2 quasi-sages have been swallowed by the blood demon, and the blood demon sits down as the demon king. His strength was only at the golden immortal level, but he was able to devour 2 quasi-sages. He must have had the help of the demon emperor. And Yaokai is estimated to be devoured by the demon emperor in all likelihood. Although the demon emperor has no real body, he is still living in the body of the blood demon. But he has the terrifying strength of a half-step saint, even when Yao Qi is fully firing. He may not be his opponent, so he held the whole peach party with his own thoughts in confusion. Just as he was about to prove Yaokai's authenticity, the other party had already left his seat. Our Lady of Fire Spirit, please wait a moment, Yaokai's voice came from Nantianmen. The Madonna of Wudaing on the side pointed out pointedly. That's even weirder. She has so many people she can send, and she won't be looking for you. In Guangqinzi's eyes, Yaokai is just a virgin, so there is no need to take her seriously. Although you are the Queen Mother designated by Daezu, in terms of seniority alone, you and I are not sure who is the senior one. So he agreed very happily, no problem, where is Xianbing, I will help you burn him out now. I heard that you have the ability to summon 3,000 fire dragons and control the true fire of Samadhi. Before they could continue talking, Yaokai was already in front of them. I'm thinking of borrowing your Samadhi true fire to use, but don't worry, I won't use it in vain. Seeing this, Our Lady of the Fire Spirit didn't think too much, and nodded, yes, why does the Queen Mother want to see me? The Holy Mother of Fire Spirit frowned slightly when she heard this. This Guangqinzi has been pestering her for nearly 300 years. Why did she come to you? Our Lady of the Golden Spirit raised her eyebrows and looked at Our Lady of the Fire Spirit. Yaokai breathed a sigh of relief, and was about to turn around and leave with the saints. I don't know, Maybe there's something important, Our Lady of the Fire Spirit said casually. I have a piece of black ice that needs the true fire of Samadhi to burn it. Recently, I have been short of weapons. Along with her were the Holy Mother of the Golden Spirit, the Holy Mother of the Turtle Spirit, and the Holy Mother of Wudang. The Holy Mother of Fire Spirit was a little confused. Couldn't Samadhi True Fire just ask Haoshan to help? As soon as these words came out, Guangchenzi not only did not feel scared, but also felt a little proud. Only then did she suddenly realize that the two of them might have had a conflict, and as for Xianbing, it was just the beginning. Yao Kai's voice was a little urgent, and his expression seemed to be very anxious. As soon as these words came out, Our Lady of Fire Spirit was immediately angry. And I just want to discuss things with Our Lady of Fire Spirit. As two representatives of Taoism and Gigi. Why was she still needed, but the Wudang Virgin beside her suddenly pulled her from behind. Before the Holy Mother of Fire Spirit could speak, Yao Kai's words echoed in her ears again. I also want to see whether it is Jijiao, which has many bastards, or Taoism, which is better. Although Yao Kai is the Queen Mother of Heaven, she never talks to them, let alone comes in person like now. That. Guangchenzi, you have such a loud tone. How dare you shout angrily in front of me? It seems that you think this heaven belongs to Taoism. Since it's a competition, when can't it be done? Why does it have to be today? Seeing Yao Kai walking towards them, several people looked at each other and saw doubts in each other's eyes. Therefore, her words fell on deaf ears to him. Madame Fire Spirit and the others were just about to leave when they saw Yao Kai's figure slowly coming towards her. Guangchenzi jumped out from the Nantianmen. Our Lady of Fire Spirit, I heard that you are about to kill 3 corpses and become the great Luo Jingxian. Taoism considers itself aloof and has never looked down upon them, but now it is directly provoking them. Therefore, she was very disgusted in her heart, and now she was intercepted at Nantianmen. However, before she could speak, Yao Kai got angry first. What did the Queen Mother say? I just want to have a discussion with the Fire Spirit Madonna, that's all. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 433. Guangchenzi choked and looked at Yao Kai with a trace of resentment in his eyes. Originally, he was waiting at the Nantian gate, waiting for the Fire Spirit Madonna to step in and directly take the other person's life. Although the Holy Mother of Fire Spirit can control 3,000 fire dragons, plus the ability of Samadhi True Fire. He is almost invincible, but his sweeping robe is not a cover. In order to deal with the Holy Mother of Fire Spirits, I have done a lot of research, just take advantage of the opponent's unpreparedness. Just be able to open her head. At that time, I will be able to realize Luo Jingxian in a short time. At the same time, you can also obtain the magic weapon of the Holy Mother of Fire Spirit, even if the leader of Tongtian who intercepts the religion comes to ask questions. He could also say that it was caused by an accidental misfire between the two of them while they were sparring. With the master's personality, he will definitely protect himself. Anyway, the conflict between Taoism and Jijiao has already become serious. It will explode sooner or later, so why should he be so afraid? It was originally a good plan, but it was ruined by Yao Kai who came out halfway. However, this does not affect the final result. Although the Holy Mother of Fire Spirit and Luo Jingxian are only one goal away. But as long as he takes her life before the other party breaks through to Luo Jingxian, everything will be easy. What the Queen Mother said is, how about this, Our Lady of the Fire Spirit, how about you and I making an appointment to fight at Bio Palace? As soon as these words came out, the Fire Spirit Mother couldn't help but feel vigilant in her heart. Guangchenzi was ruthless and decisive, and his behavior frightened everyone in the prehistoric era. He had no interaction with him, but today he wanted to fight with him despite the Queen Mother's many attempts to stop him. I'm afraid there's something shady going on behind my back. Guangqinzi, when can we not make a date for a fight? Just now I made an appointment with Our Lady of the Fire Spirit to go to the Antarctic island. It will take at least 10.5 years. With your current abilities, you won't have much fighting power even if you want to fight. Why can't we wait until we break through to Luo Jingxian before making an appointment? When the time comes, call the masters from both sides to bear witness. Yao Kai's words were a bit eager and even a little sullen. Even if you two get anxious, with your master here, nothing irreversible will happen. Today's Peach Club has just ended, and you are impatient to make an offer. In this case, then let me call Master Tongtian and Yuan Shi Tianzun together to avoid unnecessary things from happening. Secondly, even if something happens, there is no need for me, Heavenly Court, to bear such a sin for you. As soon as Yao Kai said these words, Our Lady of Fire Spirit knew the reason. Guangqinzi wants to kill her. Now she is about the same strength as Guangqinzi, but she gained enlightenment not long ago and touched the barrier of Luo Jingxian. You only need to wait until you return this time and get the guidance of your master to prepare for a breakthrough. However, Guangqinzi didn't care and insisted on discussing with her before that. This calculation is really loud. After she dies, all the magic weapons on her body will belong to Guangqinzi, with the personality of Yuan Shi Tianzun. Even if he and his master were brothers, he would not hand over Guangqinzi. In addition, he had the support of the Tao clan behind him, so she already knew what the final result would be without even thinking about it. Thinking of the stakes involved, Our Lady of Fire Spirit used the method given to them by the Bishop of Tongtian sect to convey this matter to the other party. Guangqinzi didn't expect that Yao Kai would be so difficult to deal with today, if it weren't for the other party's identity. He really wanted to get angry and have a fight with her on the spot. A virgin girl can actually be the Queen Mother. He wanted to show those people who was qualified. Holy Mother of the Fire Spirit, as one of the 5 Holy Mothers of Zhejiao, you are even more famous as a fighting lady in the outside world. Is it possible that you don't even dare to accept my invitation to fight? Or are you saying that you are just as timid as a mouse? These words directly stimulated the fire spirit Madonna, if she hadn't already guessed what the other party was thinking. She really couldn't control herself and rushed forward to fight him for 300 rounds. Although Zhejiao is not human, among the several schools in the ancient world, it is the best in terms of strength and reputation. Even if Taoism is backed by Taoist ancestors, and the 12 golden immortals have not killed 3 corpses to prove the Tao for 1,100 years. This makes the status of Taoism even more precarious. In the hearts of the fire spirit Virgin Mary and others, Zhejiao has already been the #1 sect in the world. So now after hearing Guangqinzi's words, even the other saints around her became furious. Guangqinzi! Damn your mother, Holy Mother Jinling yelled. Taoism does teach virtuous people, but it's a pity that the virtuous people can't even compare with feathers. What a pity! The lightless virgin sneered, her plain tone full of etch. Since you want to discuss with Our Lady of the Fire Spirit, in order to avoid unnecessary trouble, I have already informed Master, and I also ask you to call Yuan Shi Tianzun and let them bear witness. Otherwise, if you die at the hands of Our Lady of Fire Spirit, not only us, but even the Queen Mother will not be able to escape the blame. The words of the Golden Spirit Mother shocked Guangqinzi. He had originally taken this opportunity to get rid of his own guilt. Now call the leader of Tongtian cult, he is not asking for death. Just as he was about to refuse, he saw a figure in yellow walking slowly towards the side. At the moment when Our Lady of Fire Spirit notified Master Tongtian, she saw the figure of Yuan Shi Tianzun. Judging from Guangqinzi's arrogant and domineering behavior, this matter may have been tacitly approved by Yuan Shi Tianzun. But the other party was drinking and chatting with the master, so he could avoid making the other party suspicious, so he did this thing. There is only one possibility, this is a clone of Yuan Tianzun. If they really fight, this clone may turn into a force to help Guangqinzi. When the time comes, she will really die on the spot. It just so happened that the leader of Tongtian cult had arrived at this time, followed by Yuan Tianzun. When the Holy Mother of Fire Spirit saw this, she not only shuddered in her heart. The way the other party was chatting and laughing made it really difficult for people to think of everything just now. Senior brother, this is the Guangqinzi you are talking about. Leader Tongtian looked at Yuan Tianzun aside while chatting and laughing, his eyes full of admiration. Yuan Tianzun responded with a smile and nodded, exactly, my disciple has long said that you have a disciple who can not only control the fire dragon, but also. You can also hide your figure and want to discuss it with her, but it seems that there is no agreement now. Looking at this situation, it's not that the agreement has not been reached, but that the plan has not been achieved. When Master Tongtian said this, he looked at Yuan Tianzun aside with a smile. At the same time, pressure was put on Guangqinzi, and a wisp of coercion directly forced the opponent to kneel on the ground and unable to move. If the Queen Mother hadn't asked the Holy Mother of Fire Spirits for help today, I might have died without knowing who to settle the score with. After these words came out, Tongtian cult master's body moved directly towards Guangqinzi. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 434. At the same time, Yuan Tianzun's pressure also fell on Guangqinzi. With his obstruction, Guangqinzi was not killed on the spot by the leader of Tongtian cult. Knowing that he was being unreasonable, Yuan Tianzun could not get angry in public no matter how ugly his face was. It would be better if Guangqinzi beat the person to death directly, he could still find an excuse to refuse. Now not only is he not dead, he is also being silenced, even if he is not afraid of Tongtian. You also have to think about your own face. After a moment of silence, a few words popped out from between your teeth. It's my lax discipline. How could Master Tongtian be willing to give up? Our Lady of Fire Spirit was his favorite disciple. He was only one step away from Deluo Jingxian, but Taoism had a good plan. Not only do you want him to lose his disciples, but you also want him to swallow this bad news. He couldn't bear this tone no matter what. So just as he was about to speak, a burst of purple energy came from the sky. The ancient and eternal bells echoed in the sky. It's the summons from Dao Ancestor. Someone in the crowd said. The Dao bell will not be rung easily, and will only be rung during major meetings. The last time the bells rang was at the beginning of a sermon, tens of thousands of years ago. When Yuan Tianzun and Tongtian cult leader heard the ringing of the bell, they headed towards the sky without hesitation. Before Yuan Tianzun left, he did not forget to send Guangqinzi directly back to the Taoist gate. He was severely injured by the Tongtian cult leader, and he couldn't live without people at this time. He didn't know how he died. Yao Kai was relieved when she saw this. Now the problem was solved and she had completed the task. But how can one make the Holy Mother of Fire become his loyal follower? Before Yao Kai could speak, Holy Mother Fire Spirit spoke first. Thank you Queen Mother for your help, Our Lady of Fire Spirit solemnly saluted and thanked her. Saving you doesn't count, it's just that I don't like to bully others. Yao Kai felt a little sad when he said these words, and he didn't know whether he was talking about Guangqinzi or those people. Didn't the Queen Mother just ask me to help cut off the Xianbing? I wonder where the Xianbing is. Let's go there now. The words of Our Lady of Fire Spirit made Yao Kai suddenly wake up. She could take them all with her. Once the Dao bell rings, it proves that there is something important to discuss with the three religions. Leader Tongtian and Yuan Tianzun, as leaders of the three religions, simply cannot leave. She can lead the Holy Mother of Fire Spirit and others to get close to the descendants of the founding Yuan Ling. Those are all single people who have been single for 10,000 years. If they could be together, wouldn't that be better than worshipping oneself? After all, in the eyes of the Fire Spirit Madonna and others, he is just a pawn of others. So what if I become the Queen Mother of Heaven? He is just a puppet with no real power. The Hongjun lecture was held again after tens of thousands of years. He sat on the top futon with his eyes slightly closed until Yuanshi Tianzun and Tongtian cult leader took their seats. Then he slowly opened his eyes, and his eyes wandered over everyone before he got to the point. Recently, monsters appeared in Kaoh City to confuse Chaogang, causing King Shang to ignore Chaogang and neglect political affairs. There are constant complaints among the people are living in dire straits, and there are even demon concubines coming into the harem. Hung Jun's voice echoed in everyone's ears. Yuanshi Tianzun and Tongtian cult master had different thoughts. According to the decree sent back by God, Emperor Xian was addicted to lust, lost his original intention, was ignorant, and worked hard to build the Star Zane Tower for the demon concubine. If he continues to rule Shangtang, the people's lives will become even more severe. The meeting is being held today to ask you to come up with suggestions for eliminating demons and defending the way. Do you have any clues? Hung Jun's eyes swept over everyone present one by one, taking in the expressions on their faces. After a while, Master Tongtian stood up and said, reporting to Dao Ancestor, I think senior brother Yuanshi's 12 golden immortals are the best candidates. As soon as these words came out, Yuanshi Tianzun's heart sank instantly. Those 12 golden immortals are the foundation of his Taoist religion. It can be said that these 12 golden immortals are an important factor in whether Taoism can exist in the world and be passed down. If these 12 golden immortals were to go down to earth and experience calamity, it would be a great harm to him. Before Yuanshi Tianzun could speak, Hung Jun nodded. Tongtian's words make sense. The 12 golden immortals are the direct disciples of Yuanshi. They have been with him and taught them for many years. Regardless of temperament and strength, they are very suitable. Not bad, not bad. Hung Jun nodded with great satisfaction, and then looked at Yuanshi Tianzun. Now the 12 golden immortals have not beheaded 3 corpses for more than 1,000 years. This time they descended to earth to experience calamity. It is indeed a good deed to help mortals eliminate demons and defend the Tao. Yuanshi does not need to worry that their cultivation will return to zero. After going through all kinds of calamities and killings this time, he can still continue to practice and ascend to the throne of God. As soon as these words came out, a bad thought flashed in Yuanshi Tianzun's heart. Sure enough, Hung Jun's words continued to come from above. This time God Haoshan and I observed the location of the prehistoric world and the vacancies in heaven. It was decided to decentralize the list of gods and recruit worthy people in the world, and the 12 golden immortals are one of them. This time I will go down to earth to help King Wu defeat Zhou. After surviving the catastrophe, I will be able to be listed on the list of gods and become a god in heaven. Buzz. Yuanshi Tianzun's brain exploded instantly. The 12 golden immortals he had worked so hard to cultivate for so long were actually made gods. Becoming a corpse execution immortal, even if you break through to the great Luo golden immortal, you will never be able to become a saint again. Not even Tai golden immortal can break through. It was hard for him to swallow this breath. Therefore, he couldn't even control the expression on his face, and his body was shaking violently. This was the first time that everyone saw him losing his composure like this, but they knew it but didn't dare to think too much about it. They didn't even dare to show anything in public. At this moment, they wished they could bury themselves underground. Maybe they can avoid being called out, whether by their disciples or themselves. As long as you are named by Hung Jun, then the only way out is to become the corpse execution immortal. The best way to describe the list of gods is to become a god, but in fact, it means to imprison the soul in the list of gods forever. If you make the slightest mistake, you will be expelled. That is the real soul. Now that the 12 major disciples of Yuanshi Tianzun have been named, I am afraid that even Yuanshi Tianzun will have to create a clone to accept the order of Haoshan. Haoshan's move is really vicious. Is it possible that Yuanshi has any objections? If you have any objections, you can say it in person and I will take care of it. Yuanshi Tianzun was so frightened by these words that he responded quickly with a thin layer of sweat on his forehead. The disciples are so happy that they don't know how to express it. The 12 golden immortals have such a good fortune because they have been blessed for several generations. Seeing this, Hung Jun didn't show anything on his face, but he snorted coldly in his heart. Whenever Yuanshi dares to say no, he will replace him on the spot. Seeing this scene, the leader of Tongtian cult felt a little less angry in his heart. But what happens next, even if he hears something he shouldn't hear, he must endure it. Otherwise, there would be members of the G cult on the list of gods. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 435. Yuanshi looked around and saw that apart from them, everyone present was the presence of Deluo Jingxian. Therefore, the quasi-sage may not be in the list of gods this time, since Hung Jun has decentralized the list of gods. As a follower of his, there is absolutely no chance of being alone. Since this situation is irreversible, he must seek the best for everyone under his sect. Daezu, what positions can be included in this list of gods? How many people are required to participate in it? Hung Jun counted with his fingers and looked around at everyone around him. The 360 stars in the sky lack the management of the gods, so they order the 12 immortals to serve as ministers. A total of 365 gods are compiled into it. They are divided into 8 parts, the upper 4 are thunder, fire, plague, and there are 4 stars in the lower part, 3 mountains and 5 mountains, and the gods of good and evil follow the rain and make the clouds rise. Yuanshi Tianzun thought about it after hearing the words. Although everyone in the heaven performed their own duties, they were all relatively strong. But the final power of dispatch lies in the hands of the saint behind him, even though Haoshan is the emperor of heaven. But it did not convince them of their majesty. Now the avenue is rising faintly, even though it has been defeated once. But that was also on the premise that the other party was unprepared. This time Haoshan suddenly asked for a list of gods. Thinking about it, he was forced to have no choice. Yuanshi Tianzun made some guesses and knew Haoshan's true intention. To deal with the power of the avenue, you still need to rely on the ability of the person behind you, but Wuliang Henmo's injury has not yet recovered. It will take at least another calamity to completely get better, if Tiandao is not seriously injured by the power of the avenue. So this matter is not bad, at least it can wait, but Tiandao was seriously injured. Nowadays, when people come out to see people, they are replaced by the incarnation of Heavenly Dao, or they are handled by Hung Jun Daezu. Therefore, if you want to overthrow the power of the avenue, you need to hit it hard first. The original plan was to start with Wang Shu's true body, but first Xiao Xian returned to the wild land. Wang Shu's true body was completely protected by the power of the Dao, and even the Dao of heaven could not get her out from inside. As for the curse that Heavenly Dao had placed on her before, she still doesn't know if it will work. When all aspects fail, they need to start from another angle. Haoshan is the best example. Considering that the other party has been suppressed by several great saints in recent years, he feels dissatisfied in his heart. Coupled with the acquiescence of the incarnation of Tiandao and Hung Jun Daezu, even if the other party turns the entire prehistoric world upside down, they will sit back and watch. And Haoshan also knows his final outcome, so please give him the list of gods, even if he is hunted down by people from the prehistoric times. With the support of Tiandao and Daezu Hung Jun, he would not end up in a state of despair. For the sake of the conferred gods list, Taoist Hung Jun would definitely let him go down to the mortal world to experience calamity, and then take charge of the heaven again. At that time, even the saints will not be able to send the gods in heaven. Even he and Master Tong Tien had to separate themselves to serve in heaven. I have to say that Daezu Hung Jun's move of borrowing a sword to kill someone was extremely clever. When Yuan Shi Tianzun thought of this, no matter how dissatisfied he was, he did not dare to express it. Therefore, my heart ached very much, and I still wanted to send away the 12 golden immortals under my command. Although they were recognized by the 12 immortal heads of Hung Jun Daezu, their future status was established. But as the first person to raise the issue, Tong Tien cult master cannot make the other party feel better. Since there is no way to change the outcome, he will let the other party completely lose. Tao ancestor, the demons and demons are causing chaos in the world, causing disasters one after another. Now the list of gods has been finalized. Who did Daezu decide to send to the human world to guide King Wu in defeating Zhou? Although Shang Tang was almost exhausted. At that time, Taoism was looking for capable people, so although Shen Gongbeo belonged to the feathered category, Hung Jun raised his head to look at Yuan Shi Tianzun, his eyes swept across everyone, and finally stopped at the leader of Tong Tien. Not only does she want to give up her body and become a god, but she may not even be able to achieve the goal of becoming a Deluo Golden Immortal. Although the disciples under him are not human beings, their strength is extraordinary. But how could Yuan Shi Tianzun ask him to leave in person, instead letting him go? The 12 golden immortals under his command continue to grow. As the only feather type in Taoism, they are extremely talented. Therefore, he became the target of his acceptance when Shen Gongbeo first entered Taoism. After all, the teachings of the Tong Tien leader are inhumane. If he really agrees, it will not be easy to deal with. The disciple who takes the lead will achieve worldly glory and wealth after coming down from the mountain, and will be included in the list of gods. Therefore, Hung Jun did not wait for the response from Master Tong Tien and turned to look at Yuan Shi Tianzun. Zhang Zia is also one of my most proud disciples. One of the two can be chosen to help King Wu defeat Zhou. For Yuan Shi Tianzun, this was also an existence that was disgraceful, so he gradually distanced himself from Shen Gongbeo's teachings. There really is some connection. When Zhijiao was first established, Shen Gongbeo wanted to join him. Therefore, he didn't say anything and listened quietly to Yuan Shi Tianzun's story. But what he didn't know was that Master Tong Tien already had other plans in mind. Reporting to Dao Ancestor, I think these two people are pretty good. Shen Gongbeo is one of the disciples of Ji Xiao. Hearing this, the leader of Tong Tien cult could not help but sneer when he recalled the past, and Shen Gongbeo became his disciple. Among them, Our Lady of Fire Spirit is only one step away from Deluo Jinxian. If she nods her head at this time. How about I leave this mission of leading King Wu to defeat Zhou to you? After the matter is over. How could he become one of Ji Jiao's disciples now? What happened? Speak. In addition, the overall situation has been decided, and since there is no way to change it, I want him to become the despised party. Hung Jun looked at Shen Gongbeo aside and said, I remember that Shen Gongbeo used to be a Taoist disciple, right? The direct disciples of Tong Tien seat are quite good, and they can be regarded as the best in the prehistoric times. But Shang King Dxian is not a kind person, and with the demon concubine Daji, it may be difficult for King Wu to achieve great things with his ability. But due to the opponent's strength and talent, he was already a moderately successful person in the prehistoric times. The heavenly book in my hand can test the true face of a person's heart. If he is a virtuous and upright person, he will be sent to help King Wu. What does Dazu do? Yuan Shi Tianzun did fulfill his promise to help him improve his strength, but as Taoism became more stable, Yuan Shi Tianzun took out the heavenly book in his hand and placed it in the air. It showed the disciples under him and the leader of Tong Tien. Dazu, I have something to tell you. At this moment, Master Tongtian felt relieved. The other party must have resented him for recommending his 12 golden immortals to the top. As soon as these words came out, the Tongtian cult master immediately lost his composure. Yuan Shitianzun stood up slowly, instantly attracting everyone's attention. Including their cultivation level and personality, they were finally locked in Zhangzia and Shen Gongbeo. Just when he was preparing some words to refuse, Yuan Shitianzun spoke. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 436. And when Zhangzia joined the family 40 years later, he completely abandoned the other party and replaced Zhangzia. As far as he knew, Zhangzia was not as magnanimous as the outside world rumored. On the contrary, in order to get everything he wanted, he did not hesitate to frame his fellow brothers. Zhangzia has been a disciple for 40 years but still doesn't have any spells, just to test the opponent's bottom line. Shen Gongbeo asked him to watch his newly learned spells, and planned to help him open up the Ren and Du channels. But just when Shen Gongbeo used the flying head technique, the white crane boy of the Antarctic immortal suddenly appeared for some reason, and took his head away. Although it was returned to him later, Shen Gongbeo was eventually expelled for violating the rules of Yugzu sect. Later, Shen Gongbeo went to Zhangzia to seek justice, but found that the other party was already a half-step below Jingxian. There was only one opportunity left to break through, which meant that he didn't know how to use magic at the beginning. They are all deceiving him, so Shen Gongbeo wants to fight him to the death. But when the matter came to Yuan Shitianzun, it turned out that Shen Gongbeo was selfish and got carried away by interests. He also massacred his fellow sect members and was suppressed by Yuan Shitianzun. If not for the pity of Tongtian cult leader. If he intervenes in time to stop him, it's hard to say whether there is still Shen Gongbeo in the prehistoric period. As for Shen Gongbeo becoming his disciple, it was purely accidental, something happened in advance. Master Tongtian felt ridiculous when he heard what Yuan Shitianzun said. When Yuan Shitianzun saw this, there was a hint of regret in his voice. Shen Gongbeo is a leopard that has become a spirit after 1,000 years, and his talent and strength are above those of the 12 golden immortals. If you continue to practice without forgetting your original intention, you may be able to attain Deluo Jingxian. It's a pity that his mistake was that he was eager for success and liked to show off when he had some achievements. He still didn't repent after I taught him more. Speaking of this, Yuan Shitianzun shook his head regretfully. Not only did he confront Zhangzia tit for tat, but he even wanted to kill him. If it weren't for the white crane boy under the Antarctic immortal seat who came to the rescue, Zhangzia would have been out of his mind. Even so, Zhangzia did not do anything excessive to him, but was kind and forgiving to him. Precisely because of this, I feel more pity for Zhangzia, and I only punished Shen Gongbeo with a big punishment. Then he was asked to go down the mountain, and he was not allowed to mention anything about Yugzuman again. The words stopped here, but the meaning of the words had been conveyed. Before everyone present could react, the heavenly book suspended in the air began to show the scene of Shen Gongbeo and Zhangzia at this moment. In the picture, Zhangzia treats the old, young, women and children equally and not only helps them solve their difficulties. He even saved their son who fell into evil spirits, thus gaining the awe of everyone. On the other hand, Shen Gongbeo was obviously just a beggar, but he was humiliated by his words. Not only that, but he also threw away all the food the other party had begged for and the money he had to survive. This behavior not only affected the beggar, but also everyone present felt that he was making trouble unreasonably. This Shen Gongbeo can obviously help the other party just by extending a helping hand, but he wants to be so humiliated. It's so abominable. Such people just confuse the world. Zhangzia is not very old, but he is able to be considerate of others. He not only has little love, but also has great love in his heart. Such a person is the best candidate to serve as the king's mentor. Everyone present was talking a lot, not caring who Shen Gongbao's disciple was. Even the leader of Tongtian cult was surprisingly quiet, without even a word of retort. Seeing this scene, Yuan Shitianzun thought that the other party was already very angry. The previous grievances suffered at Nantianmen also disappeared at this moment. Hung Jun watched the secret contest between the two indifferently, and naturally understood why Tongtian chose to remain silent. Therefore, every time he saw people from Jijiao, he felt extremely unwelcome to see them. As for those who have different intentions and are unwilling to join the list of gods, they will be eliminated directly. In a way, Jijiao's existence seems to be a satire on Taoism, which he inspired. Let Zhangzia take care of this matter. It concerns the three realms, so we have to be cautious. There are even some people who are not afraid of the burning sun and break out of their shackles to join Xiao Xian's command. In order to avoid future troubles, a cleanup is necessary this time. After this calamity is over, even if the infinite demon doesn't take action, the avenue will be completely killed by him. For him, it doesn't matter who enters the list of gods. When the time comes, Tongtian will naturally fight with him because of this matter, and Jijiao will also disappear completely on this day. Hung Jun's words revealed a hint of concern and compassion for the people, and his expression was even more reluctant. Although the prehistoric world has basically become his rule, those who hide in the darkness. So at this moment, I naturally turned a blind eye to Yuan Shitianzun's little thoughts. These things are what he will do in the future. Not only that, he also has to find an opportunity to go to the three sacred beasts. Yuan Shitianzun bowed his hands and resigned first. He must explain this matter to Zhangzia properly. Even if it brings disaster to the prehistoric world, he will not hesitate. Success is always based on blood. In the past, it was indeed painless, but Xiao Xian's appearance made these people ready to take action. As the king of the world designated by the saint of heaven, anyone who comes to stop him will be affected by the fate of heaven. If he can use the strength of the other party to help him, then he will have another chance of winning. The dark elements who were still alive had become his worry, the existence of those people. Before that day comes, he must completely kill all factors. Unless the opponent is also the son of luck, he will inevitably be swallowed up by the fate of heaven and become Zhangzia's defeated enemy. Then he looked at the high-spirited Yuan Shitianzun. He liked people who knew current affairs. If he hadn't been on guard, Dao's team would have gained another arm. Although Tongtian is also one of his disciples, his teachings are opposite to his own. It is best to let the other party drag Shen Gongbao into the water to show Shen Gongbao's temperament. The insignificant human being dreamed of fighting against the sky, and each incident made him feel a sense of crisis. Therefore, he agreed to Yuan Shitianzun's words without hesitation. This time Xiao Xian returned and had a huge impact on him. But those who enter the list of gods must be absolutely surrendered to themselves and absolutely powerful. As for these people in heaven, they have already been blinded by the immediate benefits, and there is no guarantee that something will happen in the future. He will definitely go to assist the Shang King Dxin, and by then, he will be able to kill all the Jijiao in one fell swoop. Only in this way can he completely rule out the existence of alien intentions. Hutu, who has been reincarnated in 6 realms, is nowhere to be found, and Nuwa, who has transformed into a mother river, shows faint signs of returning. But since he doesn't want to be on the list of gods, then he can go to hell. Kill the rebellious humans in the cradle, recreate the 6 paths of reincarnation, and permanently seal Nuwa in the mother river. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 437. The leader of Tongtian cult never said a word, regardless of whether the other party was degrading Zhijiao as useless. Or they may ridicule him openly or covertly, but he doesn't care about it. But what should be avoided is still unavoidable, since he has chosen not to enter the list of gods. Na Hung Jundae's character would not give up, and he would definitely find reasons to let Zhijiao participate in King Wu's defeat of Zhou. When the time comes, King Wu, who has the bonus of heavenly luck, will naturally comply with the destiny. Kill everyone who resists the way of heaven, including all the disciples of Zhijiao. Therefore, as soon as the conference dispersed, he hurriedly returned to the palace and sent a message to Qinhuan and Zhao Zhang. The two of them have been staying in the Xiao family for half a year, and they have not only found out everything about the Xiao family. He even became life and death friends with some disciples of the Xiao family, so after seeing the message given to them by the leader of Tongtian cult, naturally, he knew what to do, so he immediately went to Jinao Island and found some treasures there. To Xiaoxian, these may be useless existences, but to the young children of the Xiao family, they are excellent. According to the information they learned, there are 9 geniuses in the Xiao family. But before coming to the prehistoric world this time, I had already gone to other worlds to experience. Therefore, in addition to the founding Yuanling, the 9 elders in the Xiao family are now in charge. And the 9 elders are all old, and 2 of them are approaching their old age. So when I visited the Xiao family this time, I brought some elixirs that could prolong life. Whether it is necessary or not is one thing, but the etiquette is another. Qinhuan and Zhao Zhang took the gifts and headed to Xiao's house. At the same time, Shangwang Dxian was also completely shocked by the scene in front of him. You are the founding Yuanling. He never expected that the founding Yuanling Xiaoxian would appear in front of him. At this moment, his heart was beating extremely fast, and countless possibilities flashed through his mind. The founding Yuanling Xiaoxian who dared to kill the saint and fight against the sky. Dxian's tone was full of passion and excitement. If Xiaoxian appeared here, would he have a chance to fight against the sky? Therefore, the moment Xiaoxian nodded, he excitedly stepped forward and knelt on the ground. This scene made Daji say in surprise, "Your Majesty." Dxian was such a noble and arrogant person, he actually knelt down and saluted Xiaoxian without hesitation. She couldn't help but feel distressed, but she didn't know how to help. Dxian looked at the person in front of him with a pleading look, since he was the founding Yuanling. Then he will definitely be able to help him gain the ability to fight against the sky, as long as he has this ability. He can protect his lover and the people of Kaoch City. So it doesn't matter if he puts down his dignity. As long as it can be exchanged for a lifetime of peace. Founding Yuanling, I need your help. I want to gain supreme power. A terrifying ability that can compete with the sky. I want to overthrow this unfair rule and knock down those hypocritical gods. Xiaoxian was also surprised by Dxian's move. In his memory, King Zhou was not only a king, but also an extremely proud and majestic person. But now he is completely different. He no longer exudes a majestic aura. Instead, he was replaced by stubbornness, unwillingness, and resistance. He knew what the other party wanted in his heart. But he wanted to know more why he did this. You don't have to resist the law of heaven, just accept their oracle and let your subordinates complete it. Why bother yourself with all this trouble? Women and the world will all be there as long as you obey. Xiaoxian's words made Dxian's heart tremble, and his body also tensed up. At this moment, there was a large number of footsteps and rhythmic shouts coming from under the city wall. Overthrow the rule! Overthrow the rule! Waves of sound kept pouring into his ears, echoing in his ears. Dxian stood up slowly and walked towards the window sill of Zaixing Tower. Looking at the dark mass of refugees below, there were unknown emotions in his eyes. He watched in silence as his people continued to swarm towards the city wall. Among the crowd, he saw a monk carrying a golden Buddha statue, with a black aura emanating from his body. In Daji's previous prediction, I saw my future, but even so, I never thought of giving up. After a moment of silence, DXIN looked at Xiao Xian aside, the look in his eyes. No one can stand up, but he chose to die to complain about the injustice of heaven. I acquired its terrifying abilities just to fight the gods. That is a force of life. He clenched his fists in excitement and looked at Daji aside with tears in his eyes. As an ancient mythical beast, the phoenix is almost extinct, and now only this one is seen. This little bit of power can help you win this war. Then that person must be me, and it can only be me. Humanity needs fresh blood injection. At that time, it was dying. Although it was nourished by the Emperor's essence and blood, it could not return to its peak state. At that moment, his eyes were burning with fighting spirit, as if the whole world was being swallowed by fire. That person is the key to your overthrow of rule. After you find it, you need to guide him well and put him on the right track. Although the phoenix is a mythical beast and can be reborn from the fire, you are only a mortal after all. He couldn't help but feel deeply in his heart, and then he pointed out a finger, and a burst of ultimate power penetrated into the opponent's body. Role model, I want to be their role model. I want humans to stand up and stop being the puppets of gods. But if you want to completely overthrow their rule, you need to reappoint virtuous ministers, and you also need to find someone named Neza. He looked up at the sky, hating his own powerlessness. Why not be stronger? Overdrafting it can only lead to death and soul ecstasy, but at this moment, you can use it unlimitedly. Even Daji didn't know about this. DXIN looked at Xiao Xian in surprise. How could he know about the phoenix? In order to protect his people, DXIN went to the forbidden area to merge his soul with the other party. In your indestructible world, the phoenix's abilities can be unleashed to the extreme. But when countless individuals resist, people should reflect on whether the world is wrong. DXIN looked at the people who were approaching the city wall. He didn't blame them. This was everyone's choice. Because I know that one day someone will overthrow this rule. If someone really has to sacrifice. Having already foreseen the result, DXIN raised his head and smiled as he felt the changes in the world. Xiao Xian seemed to understand his determination to fight against the sky, in the face of absolutely powerful power. Only in this way can he really do something to prevent his people from living a life like purgatory. Or are people living in a wrong world to begin with? Resistance is just a return to the original world. Before he could react, Xiao Xian said again. It is even more necessary to stimulate the fighting spirit in the heart. When a person resists, there may not be anything. Even from such a distance, he could feel the energy emanating from that monk. The same oppressive aura as those of the gods burned the handwriting of the gods. With a sudden burst of white light, DXIN felt the abundant power in his body. This was what his ancestors saved in the desert when they founded Shangtang 600 years ago. Let Xiao Xian understand his determination, and it is precisely in this way that he will be smeared and killed by those people at all costs. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 438. DXIN and Daji looked at each other, unable to hide their surprise. There was no one named Neza in Kaoj City, so they didn't wait for them to continue asking. Xiao Xian's figure had disappeared from sight, and the shouts under the city wall were loud and clear. Overthrow the rule! Overthrow the rule! DXIN and Daji looked at each other and smiled, looking under the city wall with a hint of determination in their eyes. The feeling of being oppressed by powerlessness disappeared at this moment. Even if the person standing opposite him is the supreme god, he will not be afraid. He looked up at the sky, since this world needs someone to sacrifice before it can wake up from its slumber. Then he is willing to be the one who is sacrificed. Kanzaki looked greedily at the bad nature exuding from the humans in front of him. Scream. Fight. Overthrow the incompetent and stupid rule. He raised his hands above his head, as if praying for some kind of ritual, which was weird and terrifying. Overthrow the rule of the gods. Give us our freedom. Overturn the imprisonment of the gods and give us a beautiful home. Overthrow the shackles of killing monsters and beasts, and let humans and monsters coexist peacefully. The sudden turn of events not only caught Shenchai off guard, but even Dxian was surprised. But he quickly came to his senses and quickly walked to the city wall and looked at the people gathered below. His loud voice carried unswerving power in everyone's ears. My people, from today on, you will no longer have to risk your life to kill monsters to seize the inner elixir. The lone king will do his best to open up a path of freedom and democracy for you, and he will not give up even if he dies. In the future life, the fate of mankind will be in its own hands. His words have infinite penetrating power, and even if they are hundreds of miles away, the onlookers can feel the peace of mind brought by his strength. Kanzaki was shocked by this power and disappeared into the crowd into a ball of black smoke. In the palace of King Jo, Bigan has been waiting for a long time. As Dxian's uncle and supporter, he must strictly control his every word and deed. This time, he followed Wei Ziyan to the border to investigate the military situation, and learned that a change had occurred in Kaoch City. Emperor Xian of the Shang dynasty burned the oracles of the gods and killed the gods, which led to disaster. In order to prevent things from becoming more serious, he rushed to Kaoch City as quickly as possible. But they found that all the strong men who were supposed to be hunting monsters to obtain inner elixirs appeared in Kaoch City, and headed towards King Jo's palace, realizing the seriousness of the matter. He rushed to the palace without stopping, and the moment he saw Emperor Xian walking towards him in high spirits, all the worries in my heart disappeared at this moment. Your Majesty, I heard that you burned the oracles of the gods and killed the messengers sent by the gods. Dxian nodded in a good mood. Yes, the Shang dynasty has been suppressed by them since its establishment. After being a puppet for 600 years, it's time to end it. When he said this, a strong fighting spirit flashed in Dxian's eyes. But do you know what will happen if you anger the gods? Bigan felt that Dxian's behavior was too arbitrary and would bring endless disaster to Kaoch City. The end. The end is that the rule of heaven is completely overthrown and mankind is free. As soon as these words came out, Bigan's heart was deeply shocked. He didn't expect that Dxian would have such ambitions, but the gods couldn't resist. Human beings are just ordinary people, how can they fight against gods? You are seeking death. Sensitime's 600-year-old foundation will be destroyed in your hands. Bigan yelled angrily, veins on his body bulged, and his eyes were full of anger. Dxian looked at him, not surprised by Bigan's attitude. Uncle, instead of being forced by them to survive, why not break through the constraints and fight with all your strength? To them, we are dispensable ants, but to us, living is already very difficult, but even living is so difficult, why not die happily? Dxian's words made him fall silent. He has been serving the gods since the establishment of Shangtang. No matter how unreasonable their demands are, they will do their best to meet them. But the scene he saw on the way back seemed to tell him that maybe the things that his ancestors had persisted in for generations were all wrong. Then he sighed, since the king has already decided, then the humble minister must die. Dxian was overjoyed. Uncle, even if I die, I will not let that person die. You just need to help me find a person named Neza. That person is the key to overthrowing the rule of heaven. Neza? If it's far away, I don't know. If it's close, he is General Li Jing's third son. The ancient land, the Xiao family. Xiao Xian was fishing in the back mountain when Xiao Ji Unfeng appeared behind him. Master, disciples Qin Wan and Zhao Zhang have asked to see you. They are already waiting for you in the hall. Xiao Xian was slightly startled. How could the disciples of Jijiao come here to look for him? Now that the great Dao has returned to its primeval times, and all sects are avoiding it, this disciple of Jijiao has taken the initiative to come to him. I was even more surprised when I heard Xiao Ji Unfeng tell that the two people had established a relationship in the Xiao family. The other party's trip was definitely not his intention, but was ordered by the Tongtian cult leader behind him. But there are two results: one is to find out the truth for the Tiandao regime, and the other is for its own interests. If it's nothing important, just handle it yourself. After thinking for a moment, Xiao Xian let Xiao Ji Unfeng handle it on his own, even if he wanted to ask Ji Jiao and Tao Jiao for advice. That is definitely not the time now, so refusing directly is the best option. Xiao Ji Unfeng paused and spoke again. Qin Wan said that Master Tongtian admires your ability to cultivate the family's children. I would like to find an opportunity to discuss with you about how to train future generations. Xiao Xian raised his eyebrows. This was an irresistible reason. So he said, I remember that Peach Blossom Spring is like spring all year round, and it is a good place to make friends. Xiao Ji Unfeng knew what Xiao Xian meant when he heard this, so he turned and left directly. Just as he came out of the back mountain, Chopin came over in a hurry. When he saw Xiao Ji Unfeng, he just nodded and hurried into the back mountain. Xiao Ji Unfeng naturally noticed something strange, but even Qin Wan and Zhao Zhang caused trouble. Even with Chopin's strength, he was able to suppress him, so something else must have happened. Thinking of this, he didn't dare to neglect at all, and hurriedly headed towards the Xiao family hall. The head of the family, Fen Yan, the head of the Phoenix clan, came here with two elders from the family to pay homage. Chopin's voice was a little urgent, and his face was a little anxious. At this time, the Phoenix clan came over, and they didn't know what trouble was going to happen. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 439. While Qin Wan and Zhao Zhang were waiting for Xiao Ji Unfeng's reply, they saw Fen Yan, the leader of the Phoenix clan, leading someone there. The two elders behind him even held the precious treasure of the previous patriarch of the Phoenix clan, as well as two pills that can enhance the strength of fire attribute cultivators. Only the Phoenix clan in the entire prehistoric world had them. The two looked at each other and saw shock and consternation in each other's eyes. Xiao Xian is still the first person who can make the Phoenix clan shed their capital like this. Even if they haven't spoken yet, both of them have already guessed the purpose of the other's trip. But it's still hard to hide the shock in my heart. After all, the Phoenix clan is the most valued sacred beast of Hongjun Daezu. If you come to Xiao Xian with a heavy gift at this time, aren't you afraid of being destroyed by Daezu Hongjun? But if you think about it carefully, don't they have the same purpose? It's just that the leader of Tongtian has not made his position clear yet. Fen Yan didn't expect to see a Jijiao disciple here. After all, he was the disciple of Taoist Hongjun. In addition, the strength of the leader of Tongtian is one of the best in the world. No matter from any aspect, it makes no sense why the other party wants to find Xiao Xian. So both sides just sat there quietly, and the atmosphere turned a little awkward for a while. Fortunately, Xiao Ji Unfeng arrived in time. Looking at the scene in front of him, he understood the reason for Xiao Bang's anger. After a pause, he hurried forward and saluted the leader of the Phoenix clan, then turned around and said to Qin Wan, I wonder if Master Tongtian knows about the Peach Blossom Spring? The family leader asked the leader to go to the Peach Blossom Spring to talk about it. Qin Wan nodded. Although he was full of doubts, he glanced at Fen Yan and chose to leave. Since Xiao Xian asked Xiao Ji Unfeng to respond to him, it means that what he just said can only be conveyed to the leader. Therefore, After leaving the Xiao family gate, he used the communication mirror to inform the leader of Tongtian cult about the matter. Seeing that the other party was very happy, Qinhuan and Zhao Zhang looked at each other and knew that the matter was probably settled. As soon as Qinhuan left the door, Xiao Xian walked out of the side hall. When Fen Yan saw him coming out, he hurriedly stepped forward and saluted. I have admired the name of the Xiao family master for a long time, and when I saw him today, he turned out to be really extraordinary. Xiao Xian accepted it calmly. Please sit down. Seeing Xiao Xian coming, Fen Yan went straight to the point and told the purpose of her trip. Instead of beating around the bush with the other party, it is better to state your intention directly. This will neither waste the other person's time nor make your own situation more embarrassing. Master Xiao, to be honest, I came here this time to join the Xiao family's team. Xiao Xian was slightly surprised. He had guessed the other party's purpose of coming here, but he didn't expect it to be so direct. For a moment, he didn't know how to respond, but Xiao Xian's silent attitude made Fen Yan misunderstand him. He quickly stood up and said, Master Xiao, you also know what our Phoenix clan was like in ancient times. If it weren't for Tiandao and Hung Jun's calculations, how could we have fallen to the point of becoming Tiandao's puppets? Speaking of this, Fen Yan showed strong feelings of resentment and hatred. In the beginning, the ancestral dragon, the phoenix, and the unicorn were the three great divine beasts, and they were stomping and trembling existences in the prehistoric world. But because Tiandao wanted to monopolize power, he eventually became a pawn on their chessboard. If the war between the three great beasts was caused by their own selfishness, this would be acceptable. Victory and defeat are common matters in military affairs. No one can guarantee that he will be invincible forever. But after Tiandao forced the Phoenix clan back, it seemed to attach great importance to the Phoenix clan. But every 100 years, a talented son from the Phoenix clan is selected and taken away. It is said to be helping the other party to cultivate, but in fact it is extracting their essence and blood for research. Just because they want to have the Phoenix clan's ability to rise from the ashes, this research lasted for countless galactic years. Countless sons of Tianjiao died in their hands. The last patriarch was taken away when he was about to break through Tai Golden Immortal. The same goes for the two elders sitting behind him. They recalled the memories passed down by the proud sons before they died. In the end, the only way to go is death and soul death. No matter what the outcome is, I, Fen Yan, and the entire Phoenix family behind me have no regrets. Fen Yan looked at Xiao Xian firmly. Xiao Xian was not moved by Fen Yan's words. In his opinion, this was the final outcome of the loser. They have all achieved the supreme status, but they still want to be immortal. At this moment, the blood of all Xiao family members was ignited. They can die happily, but what about the head of the family? Until they saw the returning founding spirit, at that moment, they understood what choice they should make in the end. Isn't it enough for them to deal with the head of the family in the previous life? They even want to torture others like this. He knew whether his decision was the right one. They were aware of Tiandao's evil deeds, but they didn't expect it to be so heinous. If you want to avoid being controlled and tortured by others, you have to make yourself strong enough to compete with that force. But he was telling him that the Xiao family was protecting him in a way that Xiao Xian could not see. Therefore, everyone is determined to become stronger at this moment. Only in this way can they help Xiao Xian when he needs it. They know what the final meaning of this war is, and it falls into the hands of Tiandao. Although they didn't say anything, their eyes were unwavering. Fen Yan felt the strong morale emanating from the Xiao family. Even he can't avoid it. In this world, only the strong have the right to speak. The head of the family and Tiandao are old enemies. I'm afraid it will make him unable to live and die. The anger and hatred in my heart will become clearer. I originally thought that revenge was hopeless. No matter who falls into the hands of his enemies, he can still survive without any harm. At this point, Fen Yan's anger could almost burst out uncontrollably. When everyone in the Xiao family heard this, their hearts were filled with rage. Fen Yan recalled the words from the proud son 1,000 years ago, and felt even more regretful. Before coming, some senior elders in the clan expressed opposition to his move. For the Phoenix clan, and for the sons of the geniuses who died, we must overthrow the rule of heaven. Therefore, in the eyes of others, it is a very cruel thing, but for Tiandao, it is just a means to consolidate political power. Do you know what the consequences of joining the Xiao family will be? His eyes were burning with deep hatred and overwhelming murderous intent. Damn it! Hateful! It's so hateful! But in order for their descendants to get rid of this controlled situation, they finally chose to compromise. Only in this way will you have a better chance of winning when fighting against the law of heaven. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 440. The message that the proud son sent back when he was dying. It still makes him extremely distressed. Clan leader, if the law of heaven is not eradicated, the Phoenix clan will perish. In order to gain the ability of the Phoenix clan to resurrect from the ashes, heaven condensed the essence and blood of the clan members together. And I plan to use the magic power of the infinite demon to attach the ability of rebirth to Tiandao. From now on, the death of our people will accelerate. In order to prevent my tribe from accelerating their demise, I had to escape from the heavenly saint. Fen Yan still clearly remembers his dying words in his mind. Xiao Xian knew where the proud son was. After all, the only people in the entire prehistoric era who had the ability to rise from the ashes were the Phoenix clan. Originally, he planned to find an opportunity to find the three mythical beasts and have a conversation with them. Unexpectedly, the Phoenix clan leader would personally bring people to see him. This way he saves a lot of things. The other two sacred beasts will also decide whether to join the Xiao family in a short period of time. Your proud son has now merged with the human king Dxian. He will lead Dxian to resist the law of heaven. Let those human beings gain true freedom and give them new life. Fen Yan was shocked. The two elders behind him were even more surprised. Their eyes all showed deep surprise. As long as he doesn't die. Fen Yan gave her essence and blood to Xiao Xian to show her sincerity. This blood essence is my life essence and blood. You can take my life by crushing it. Xiao Xian did not accept it, but gave him a pill. You have many years of internal injuries in your body. If you can't deal with it in time, you won't have to wait until the day of the battle with Tiandao to die. If rebirth from the ashes was useful, you should have eliminated the hidden dangers in your body long ago. Fen Yan's heart was suddenly startled. Xiao Xian could see through the hidden dangers in his body for many years at a glance. This is the curse of heaven placed in his body in order to control him. In order to get rid of this curse, he tried every means. In the end, not only did he not get rid of the curse, he also left himself with a disease. Therefore, he solemnly took the elixir and said, "Thank you, Master, for the reward." Xiao Xian took out several more training techniques related to the fire attribute and handed them to him. Since you are willing to join the Xiao family, I will not treat you badly. These are some great Dao techniques. It allows you to gather the power of the Dao and become a saint of the Dao. It can also relieve the curse in your body. While he was thinking, a breath of greatness enveloped him. That feeling made him feel refreshed, and even his realm seemed to be slightly loosened. He looked at Fen Yan and said indifferently, "Your proud son has a great power in his body. It can protect him from escaping in an emergency when he encounters danger. If Prince Shang can break the shackles this time, then he may also be able to become Tai Golden Immortal. Without the Great Road, there would be no way of heaven." Leader Tong Tian faced Xiao Xian neither humble nor overbearing, and his calm expression attracted Xiao Xian to look at him a few more times. The final outcome was not what they wanted, otherwise these humans would have become wronged souls long ago. Feng Yan was shocked and looked at Xiao Xian in disbelief. But he reacted quickly. The ability to be reborn from the ashes can only be exerted if the Phoenix clan is willing to be a mount. Thank you very much, Master. We, the Phoenix clan, will follow our master to the death. But then he chuckled, and Tiandeo couldn't think of it. They do not hesitate to attack the human world and try to use their abilities to directly control humans. What he has to do now is to find the leader of Tongtian. He is worthy of being the founder of Jijiao. There are few people in the world who can match this momentum. At this time, the leader of Tongtian cult was already waiting for Xiao Xian here in Peach Blossom Spring. At this time, apart from using more powerful means to conquer, all they could do was kill. I have long heard that the power of the Great Dao is the gentlest power in the world. When I saw it today, it really lived up to its reputation. Master Tongtian is also a well-known figure in the ancient world, and Xiao has heard about it for a long time. The proud Phoenix clan would actually choose such a lowly way to protect themselves. All members of the Phoenix clan will also become mounts for members of the Xiao family. After receiving replies from Qinwan and Zhaojiang, he rushed to Peach Blossom Spring. But their methods led to human dissatisfaction and anger, and finally led to riots. Now that Dao is rising, Tiandao wants to consolidate his power. Feng Yan was extremely excited. He knew that he had made the right decision. In the subsequent development of things, the action of Lord Tongtian will determine the final outcome. No matter how powerful the heavenly Dao is, the great Dao is still above him. Feng Yan's words surprised Xiao Xian slightly. A stone table and 2 stone benches suddenly appeared in the originally empty Peach Blossom Spring. While Xiao Xian responded, he waved his hand. The inside of the body seemed to be gently caressed by a gurgling stream. Even if heaven uses some method to eliminate him, it cannot erase this fact. Feng Yan looked at him solemnly and firmly. Master Xiao, our Feng Yan family will swear to serve you to the death. Xiao Xian nodded and disappeared from everyone's eyes. It's really sad that a mythical beast can only save its life by becoming someone else's mount.